Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something that's, well, just incredibly tough. What happens when your trust is completely shattered? It's one of the hardest things we can go through. But we're going to look at a pretty unique framework for healing, one that actually blends modern psychology with some really timeless wisdom. Okay, let's jump right in.
And yeah, this is the question, isn't it? When a relationship, or maybe an institution you believed in, or even your own faith system just breaks down, the path forward can feel impossible to find. So this whole explainer is really about finding that path. So first things first, we've got to really get what this wound is all about. Because betrayal isn't just about hurt feelings. Nope, it's a really profound injury that goes way, way deeper than just a personal insult.
Now, what I think is so helpful here is how betrayal gets broken down into these three different dimensions. You've got the interpersonal kind, right? The one we all know, between friends, partners, family. But then there's also institutional betrayal. This happens when a system you count on, like your job or even a government body, lets you down in a huge way. And finally, there's spiritual betrayal, which can kick off a major crisis of faith, making you question everything you believe in.
And here's the kicker. These wounds, they hit us everywhere. They don't just stay in your head. They literally affect your physical health. They change how you see the world, and they can even damage the core of our communities. Getting this is really the first big step toward a kind of healing that's actually complete.
So, look, if the wound is that complex, it just makes sense that the solution has to be too. So, let's get to the core idea here, this integrated path to healing that pulls from more than just one playbook.
And this right here just illustrates the whole thing perfectly. It's built on two pillars. On one side, you have psychological insights, the science that helps us understand the nuts and bolts of trauma and how our brains try to deal with it. And on the other side, you've got theological wisdom, these ancient traditions that guide us in the search for meaning, for purpose, and for hope, especially when we're in the middle of all that suffering. Let's dig into that first pillar. I mean, you can't really heal something if you don't even have the words for it, right? Psychology gives us the specific language we need to finally name the pain of betrayal. And a really key concept here is something called betrayal trauma. See, this isn't just any kind of trauma. It's what happens specifically when the person or the institution you depend on, truly depend on for your safety and survival, is the very one that hurts you. Think of a child betrayed by a parent, or a soldier betrayed by their command. It's that violation of a core essential trust that makes this wound so incredibly damaging. And then there's this other crucial piece of the puzzle: moral injury. This is about the damage done to your conscience, your internal compass of right and wrong, when you're involved in or even just witness things that go against everything you stand for. It's a wound to the soul, really, and it often goes hand in hand with betrayal.
Okay, so having the language for the pain is absolutely vital. But it's not the whole story. Let's pivot to that second pillar and see how theological wisdom gives us a framework not just for understanding, but for actually finding hope. This approach taps into some really powerful ideas. Lament, for instance, isn't just about being sad. It's a structured, honest-to-God way to express your grief and even to protest what happened. Covenant speaks to the idea that lasting, faithful relationships are still possible. Theodicy is that brave, messy work of wrestling with the question of why bad things happen. And hope? Well, hope in this sense isn't just wishful thinking. It's a gutsy, forward-looking trust that doesn't depend on how things are going right now.
And here's something I find incredibly powerful about this approach. It puts a special focus on what's called disenfranchised grief. These are the sorrows that our society just doesn't know what to do with, the silent griefs. It's pointed out here that this includes the profound loss of an animal companion, which validates a deep pain that so many people feel but are often told isn't a big deal. That kind of compassion is at the very heart of this framework. Okay, so we've got the psychological language and we've got the theological framework. But how does this all turn into actual practical steps you can take to heal? Let's get into the how-to. Here we go. 4 concrete practices. Number 1, actually practice that structured lament we just talked about. 2, set clear ethical boundaries to feel safe again. 3, and wow, this is a game changer for so many people, learn to separate forgiveness from reconciliation. They are not the same thing. You can forgive someone for your own peace of mind without ever letting them back into your life. And finally, 4, build your own personal resilience plan, a real strategy for moving forward. And that brings us to the ultimate goal of this whole process. See, it's not about trying to get back to who you were before. It's about building something entirely new, a truly resilient hope. The real aim here is something psychologists call post-traumatic growth. And this is just a transformative idea. It's the concept that the intense struggle of dealing with a crisis can actually lead to positive changes, like a deeper appreciation for life, stronger relationships, a better sense of yourself, and seeing new possibilities you never saw before. So we end on this question, which really gets to the heart of this entire framework. It flips the script on suffering. It's not just an endpoint, but maybe a turning point. It asks us to think about the incredible possibility that the very things that break us might just create the space for our greatest growth. Definitely something to think about.